Hi, my name is Talia Bowles, and this is a graphic design case study, or actually more of a web design case study, because in this video, I want to go over my process for redesigning my website portfolio. So, to start, I wanted to go over my goals for this redesign. The first one is that I wanted to bring the style and look and feel of my web design closer to my graphic design. The past year or so, every time I upload a new graphic design work onto my website, it feels really out of place because the styles kind of feel like they're fighting each other a little bit. So that was my primary reason for this redesign. The second was to save money. I've been using Webflow for the past couple of years and it's worked really well, but it's a subscription service. Yeah, and I think I've been paying like $20 a month to host my website on there, and that's not nothing. So I took this also as an opportunity to learn a new skill and host my website on GitHub, which means building it from scratch. But then I would only have to pay for my custom domain and not for like the actual website hosting. So, yeah, my main goals align my web design, look and feel with my graphic design, save money, and then learn a new skill building a website from scratch. So, next, I wanted to go over my references for the redesign. My main reference is my own work because my main goal was to align the look and feel with my graphic design work a bit more. And as I was looking at my work, I feel like the main themes that were missing on my portfolio site were color and also kinetic text. That's something I do really often, is not set text in a straight line basically and make it feel like there's a lot of movement there, and that was not in my old site at all. And yeah, and then the color, before it was just black and white, and I feel like I could do a little bit more there. My second reference is Emergence Magazine Volume 6 Seasons. I found this at Heath Heath Newsstand in San Francisco. I really loved the use of color and like containers in this. So there's a couple examples where there's like a really bright color background and one word like centered on that bright color background. And I thought that looked really nice and impactful. And it was a way that I feel like they used really bold colors in a way that isn't too overwhelming. So that really stood out to me. And then my third reference is a dictionary of color combinations. This is, I think, a book that a lot of designers or creative people in general know about. It's just a really handy way of finding good color combinations. There are multiple volumes, or maybe just two, but I used the first volume. And I also found this website that had converted all of the color combinations over to hex codes, which is what I use for web design. So that was super helpful. So the first step I took in actually building my website was migrating all of the content from my old website into VS Code, which is what I use to build my new portfolio. I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose any content, mainly my case studies from my old site, moving into my new site because it took quite a bit of time to write those case studies. And once I did that, I was able to cancel my Webflow subscription and start saving money. And then I built just kind of like a rough skeleton for my new site. I knew it was probably going to change a good amount. And once I got all of my content into VS Code, I started actually designing my website. So I went back to my references. One of the main things I did on my new portfolio to have it align better with my graphic design was rotating text. I didn't rotate like letter by letter like I do in a lot of my graphic design, but more the entire chunk of text, and that just made things feel a bit more kinetic and engaging, but rotating the whole block of text rather than letter by letter keeps it a bit more legible. And the only section where I actually rotated letter by letter was my link to my work. So, but when you hover over it, the text or the letters stand straight up, which I think is fun. And then also on my homepage, my resume is in its own like container. And that idea came from looking at some other like publications that I have that have extra inserts in them that are like different sizes than the size of the actual publication. So some publications might have an extra mini zine or something inside of them. And that's where I kind of came up with the idea of how the resume is overlapping a bit with the bio on my homepage. And then once you hover over it, it goes off to the side. You can still read the bio when the resume is there, but I thought that was a fun interaction. And then I went back and forth a lot on whether I should have all of my design work on my homepage. And I kind of came to the conclusion that I wasn't that worried about it. I'm not applying to jobs right now, so I might have approached this differently if I knew a bunch of hiring managers were going to look at my work and want to see it very quickly and easily. But I think approaching this redesign as a very intentional redesign and making sure that the web design and not just the work on the website align with who I am as a designer made me less concerned, because my website isn't just a container for my work, it is a project in and of itself. And then once you go to the work page, it's just a grid basically. And since I don't have a traditional navigation on the homepage, I decided to put my links in the grid, which I thought was kind of fun. The main one being the link back to the homepage and then the link to these case studies. And there's also my LinkedIn and Instagram, which I'm a little less worried about. So that's why I put those ones lower down in the grid. And then if you click on any of the posters, they size up larger and you can see more of the details. So the next design decision I made was adding themes to my website. So an example of that would be light mode, dark mode. I wanted to push it a little further. And so I chose some color combinations from my dictionary of color combinations and used those for my themes. I decided to make just like a black and white the default theme, just so people wouldn't be too overwhelmed from the start and everything is very legible in the default theme. But if they want to try out one of the more colorful ones, it's there. And I think that's a fun way to kind of personalize your experience on the website. And I also added underneath my bio my website and a link to the site that has all the hex codes for the color combination. So if someone wanted to send me a hex code or send me a color combination, I could add it to my themes on my site. And I thought that would be kind of fun. So when it came to building the site, I did use AI a little bit because my coding knowledge is a little limited, especially when it comes to JavaScript, and I needed that for the theme switcher. I also had never set up themes before, so I wasn't sure how to do that. And yeah, my use of AI really was just to construct the website. And it was helpful, and now I've gotten to a point where if I need to make edits, I don't need to use AI to do that. And I connected GitHub to VS Code, and that's how I push all of my updates. And it's super easy. I think the website aligns a lot more with who I am as a designer right now. I feel like I can also make changes super easily using VS Code, and it was a great project to work on, a self-initiated project, so I didn't really have a deadline and I could make all the decisions I wanted to make. And yeah, I hope this video was insightful, and thank you so much for listening.